Welcome to On My Way to Wealth, the podcast where busy Gen Xers can learn financial tips as they navigate life on their way to wealth. And now, please join your host, Luis Rosa.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of On My Way to Wealth. My name is Luis, and I'm your host. Today, you are in for a treat. I have a very special guest, and we're going to be talking about strengthening your marriage and leveling up your finances. Pastor Cal needs no introduction. He's sought-after magnetic speaker, acclaimed author, marriage coach, and relationship expert. As an ordained minister and pastoral counselor, Pastor Cal has dedicated nearly 3 decades to public speaking, teaching, and relationship building. He holds a BA in Theology from Oakwood University, a Masters of Divinity from Andrews University, and also a law degree from Columbus, Ohio's Capital University Law School. Pastor Cal and his wife, the First Lady, as she's known, Wendy, operate the successful marriage coaching organization, Marriage Ain't for Punks, which we're going to talk about. And he also serves the thriving Atlanta congregation, Progression Church, as the lead pastor. He and Wendy currently travel internationally, conducting marriage and relationship conferences, boot camps, and seminars. When he's not on the set at Married at First Sight, he can be found posting about his life and his travels with Wendy on Instagram, so to his hundreds of thousands of followers. So let's welcome television's #1 relationship expert, Pastor Cal. Welcome to the show.
Luis, it's a pleasure having you, man. It's a pleasure being here, dude. Thank you so much for inviting me to this awesome platform.
Appreciate it. It's a pleasure, an honor, and a blessing to have you here.
My pleasure.
You know, a lot of people know you from television and your books. So before we get started to talk about relationships and money, I would love to know anything that you'd be kind enough to share with us about Pastor Cal, the man himself, the father, the husband.
Man. It's funny. My life is so varied. I've had so many, I think I've lived like a few lifetimes, different career paths. You know, I spent about 12 years as a New York Stock Exchange registered representative. Worked for a number of companies. You know of one, Allianz, that I worked for. And in addition to that, I just, with all that, I was a dean of arts at Duke Ellington School of Arts in Washington, D.C., the premier high school of the arts in the country, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, that's Dave Chappelle's alma mater, right?
Exactly. Look at that. Yeah, man. Dave Chappelle's alma mater. So I was a dean there, and that was just a blast. And then I guess outside of that and doing working Married at First Sight, Wendy and I, we've done a lot of different things together. I know you're dealing with finances here, but we've also had a number of entrepreneurial pursuits where we've owned franchises, and I've done a lot of financial counseling for people also. Back in the day, not so much now, but right now we're still in the process of doing some financial things as we continue to build and grow and hopefully leave a legacy for our family. But I like being an Atlanta man and hanging out with my kids, hanging out. My wife and I, we have our date nights every week. I'm a big movie goer. I love concerts, golf, regular dude.
Nice.
That's
I saw
what I like to say.
Yeah, I saw on Instagram you do the couples date night with other, and you were getting your karaoke game on it. They put you on the spot.
Oh my God, yeah. Yeah.
Well, hopefully
I used to sing at one point in my life, but yeah, it's age kind of taking that away.
Hopefully you had a little sake in you,
Oh, yeah, a little bit.
So, Pastor Cal, man, it sounds like, you're the definition of hustle and grind, man. Relationship expert, corporate professional, progressive pastor, keynote speaker, author, wedding officiant. Are you still doing weddings?
Man, I get a few requests a week to do weddings. I will do them every now and then, but I don't have time to because they ask me to fly all over the place to do weddings. And
no, I bet.
I would love it,
I can't even imagine. I was like, man, I can't believe he's still officiating weddings too.
I know, right? I know.
When do you sleep?
Yeah. I think what I'm going to do is I'm thinking this is the first time I'm saying this. I'm thinking, Louis, about just having a big wedding where I just invite everybody who wants to be married to come to one place and we'll just do a big wedding.
There you
that's
go.
something I want to do. It's on my bucket list to do that.
That sounds awesome. You can tie it into one of your trips, just come
Absolutely.
to like Turks and Caicos and get married.
There you go.
Pastor Cal and Wendy, that's it. Just a big party. I love that idea. Well, I appreciate you sharing some of your background. I'm sure the listeners will certainly appreciate that. I know I do. So I wanted to talk about some of the things, you mentioned in your book, which I have right here. So Marriage Ain't for Punks, right? Excellent book. I started reading a lot into it even before we had scheduled this podcast. And one of the things that stood out to me is that you talk about marital CPR, and obviously I won't have you go through all of that because I know, it's a lot, and people should buy the book if they want to hear more. But one of the things that stood out to me was commitment, which is the first principle. And I love how you were talking about when couples are starting specifically where they should show each other some sort of commitment, including financial. And you have some examples, and it's funny because when I was reading that, I remember from one of the couples that married at first sight, that one of them wanted, I think, to be on the other one's health insurance, and he wanted her to take the last name as a result. And, but it's that commitment. It's like, hey, I care about you. I'm going to be here. So can you tell us a little bit about just that portion of it?
Absolutely, man. I believe, the marital CPR, commitment, passion, and respect. The C is for commitment. And a lot of people say I'm committed. A lot of people talk commitment, but I believe talk is cheap. Talk is just game. If you're going to be committed in a relationship, you have to do the things that committed people do. You have to show signs of commitment. And some of those signs are putting yourself out there in a way where the other person knows you're not going to be leaving, like buying a house, like putting someone on your insurance, or starting a joint investment account, or just basic stuff like joint bank accounts. I talked to a couple recently, and I was telling them they were having some troubles. They were buying a house, and they decided, we're going to hold back because we're not sure where we are. I said, no, forget that. No. Are you going to be together? Yeah, we're going to be together. Well, then show a sign of commitment. Buy the house. So don't play around with this. Go out there and do what committed people do. My wife and I bought a house, and hey, we know for 30 years we're not going nowhere. Mortgage. So, but it's just important to not just talk commitment, but actually show signs of commitment by doing those things, financial and otherwise. That say, I'm going to be around. I'm going to be around for this.
Yeah. And, that makes a lot of sense. I love how you talk about acting in a certain way, even if you don't feel like it in the moment, because it seems like we definitely let our feelings dictate sometimes what our actions are. And you're like, even with passion, right? You're like, no, like you do the passion acts and it'll follow, right?
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's kind of funny, Louis, because I think that in every other area of our lives, we understand that, except in relationships. It's like, when I was younger and my knees were better, I used to play basketball, right? Love basketball. I used to get out there and play ball, right? I even take my son out. I could beat him up until he turned 19 and dunked on me. Then I quit. But, before that, I used to play basketball. I remember fellas would call you and say, let's go play ball. All right, cool. You don't feel like it. I might be tired, or like now, if someone called me up and say, "Hey, man, let's do 9 rounds of golf or whatever," and I'm like, I may not feel like it, but when I get up, get out there on the course, start swinging the club, the energy starts flowing. Oh yeah, okay, fine, okay. We'll do that in anything in our lives. We'll do it on our jobs. You don't feel like going to work, but I'm going to do it. Then when you get to work, you're good. You don't feel like doing your podcast. Oh, God, I'm tired. But when you get up there, okay, great. I'm glad I did this. But when it comes to passion and relationships, it's like we only want to do what we feel like doing. And the same thing applies in relationships. Do the things that bring passion, even if you don't feel like it, and then you can talk, I'll ramble, I'll go on. But,
please do
the things that are necessary, man. Because I think a lot of times when people talk about feeling, and that's the problem with love, because people say, that I don't feel like I'm in love. Well, no, are you doing the things that someone in love would do? Are you saying the things? Are you acting a certain way? Are you giving yourself to your partner in a way that a loving person would do, whether you feel like it or not? It ticks me off because I get sick of people being led by feelings, man. Mm-hmm. No, I don't feel like helping my kids. Get out of my pocket. But they're my kids, right?
Yeah.
And I do it because that's what I'm supposed to do. Now, when they succeed, as they are, when they start succeeding, it's like, oh, wow, I'm glad I did that. Okay. The feelings follow the actions, I believe, not the other way around.
Yeah, that's fascinating to me because, like you said, we do that in so many other ways. And I feel like it should be applied even to finances. Like,
oh my gosh.
If you want to be financially free, then you have to start acting with certain principles, right? You can't be living above your means. It's not like waiting until you reach, when I have more money, I'll save. No, you start saving now because you're bringing you to the lifestyle that you're going to have when you have more money. So if you go by however you live today, if you can't save right now and you make more money, you probably won't be able to save when you make more money. Your lifestyle is just going to rise to the occasion and you just drive a better car.
Exactly. I believe money only makes people, it gives you the opportunity to be who you really are. That's all money does. You know? And if I am a horrible saver, if I'm terrible with money, then when I get a lot of money, I'm going to be terrible with that. That's why people who win lotteries, for their life, win big lotteries. What happened? That money's gone. But then those people who manage just those few dollars and then win the lottery, they're going to manage those big dollars. So I was talking to my son recently, and I was telling him, "Hey, man, you have to understand where your zero is. You have to understand where your zero is." And he's like, "Well, what do you mean?" I said, "This is it. For a lot of people, your zero is like dead broke. Like when you get your zero, that's it. My bank account's at zero. I'm done. There's nothing. I have no money." I said, "But you need to start thinking that my zero is not zero. My zero might be $1,000. My zero might be $10,000. I told my daughter this when she first started driving. I said, when you're driving, when you're in that car, remember the car's on zero at half a tank. At half tank, the car's on zero. But Dad, it's that I know I have more time. No. It's a mindset. It's a mindset. Look at that half tank and say, I need gas. And that way you'll never find yourself stranded. And it's the same way financially. If you look at your zero and raise it from zero to 10,000 to 100 grand, that's if my account gets below X number of dollars, I get nervous, right? Because my zero is not zero. It's like Oprah broke and Calvin broke. Oprah broke. Oprah broke has only got 500 million. That's Oprah broke.
Yeah, $500 million.
I think Calvin broke because our zeros are different.
Yeah, I love that concept. That's super insightful because I feel like it sets the standard. You set your own standard for the minimum that you're willing to tolerate.
Absolutely.
Right? And, something as simple as thinking about filling up a half a tank. Yeah, you're right. If you always fill up a half a tank, you're never going to get stranded for running out of gas, for sure. Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I really like that. I think that you could tie it into your identity. If you say, I'm a person that, won't go below X in my bank account.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's it, man. And I promise you, and it's so difficult because when we see money, it's like we got to spend it. But what I've taught, because I've been in investments for so long, what I taught my kids when they were little, I taught them what a stock is. I taught them what a bond is. I taught them what a mutual fund is. I taught them about annuities. So they know all this stuff now. Whether they always applied it, different story. But some did, others didn't. My middle son, the middle child, my son, he's very investment focused. That's every dime he gets. And I had to tell him recently, okay, son, listen, do not invest money that you need. Okay. Because don't invest, because he's like, Dad, I invest this, but then I can pull it out. I said, no. Because that means that it's not time for you to invest. It's not time.
You got to have different buckets. Yeah.
Different buckets. You need to start building a bucket where if everything in my world financially falls apart, I know that I have a bucket, or as they say they call it tranches in I can't think of the investment term. It's called a tranche. It's not in options. Anyway, whatever. But you got to have a tranche here or a bucket here that says this is only if everything falls apart and I need a liquid income.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know how much you want to talk about finance, Lewis, but this is a great market now, man, because there are money market accounts out there now paying 4%.
Oh my God, yeah, CDs.
Dude,
paying 4.25%, 5.
Yeah, man. So I'm like, this is the perfect time to put your liquid money in something. You know what? 5 years ago, you couldn't find 4% anywhere.
Yeah,
not on an annual basis.
Absolutely. Yeah, I just did a podcast episode recently talking about some of those places where you can, if you have money, like just your emergency savings or something that you don't think you're going to need in the long term, but it's something that you want access to and you don't want to invest it, like you were saying.
Right.
You can put your money, instead of a traditional savings account, they have high yield savings accounts, money markets, CDs that can yield you right now easily 4% without you taking any risk, still FDIC insured, and it's easily accessible. It's one simple move.
Not credit based, they don't. It's a savings account. It's not an investment, so no one cares. You have $1,000. Put it in American Express savings account, 4%.
Yeah.
There's so many out there. Basque Bank, American Express. Everybody's got it.
Yeah, they all got all those like high yield savings. I'm glad that you took the time to speak to your kids when they're younger about personal finance, because I feel like that's something that's lacking in the education system.
Oh, God,
And I was thinking about when you were talking about in your book about like premarital counseling, and a lot of people don't necessarily get any type of tools to, they're just like, okay, we're merging two lives together, which is super difficult as it is, even when there is attraction and passion, right? Yeah. And they're like, hey, go ahead, you guys go figure it out.
I know, man. I know. I think that premarital counseling is mandatory. I'm thinking of a couple now that this is probably one of the smartest couples that I've counseled. 2 young people. They were young people. They came to us for it wasn't premarital. It was pre-engagement counseling. They wanted counseling to see whether or not they should get engaged.
Wow.
I was like, dude, y'all ahead of the game, man. We sat down, we talked to them, we showed them, because their idea is that once we're married, once we're engaged, that's it. So we're not going to get engaged and then have counseling and then fall apart. Right. They said, once we're engaged, that's it. So they had pre-engagement counseling and we got them to a point where they realized, hey, this is a good thing. We can make this work. And once that happened, boom, they were engaged, they were married. And one thing that I told them is that find out what is the goal of your marriage. Why do you want to be married? And not just because, I want to be happy. Happiness is not a goal, Lewis.
Right.
Happiness is not a goal. Happiness is an emotion. It's a feeling. It's not a goal. A goal must be measurable. It must make sense. You know what I mean? It must be time sensitive. The whole SMART acronym.
Yeah, SMART, yeah.
Yeah. So the goal has to fulfill that criteria. But so then what is the goal of your marriage? And I would bet you that most people out there who are married and listening to this, they're saying, I never thought about what our marriage goal is, but we just want to be happy. No, happy is a feeling. But when Wendy and I got married, we decided, because we both came from very bad situations, we both are second timers, big young mistakes early on in life. And so we said, we do not want other couples to experience the pain that we experienced. So we dedicated our lives to helping other couples to develop, to grow, to become solid. And in our first year, we started talking to other couples, and that's how this thing actually grew. Because we knew what our goal was as 2 people. We wanted to duplicate what we believe we found in each other. What is your goal in marriage? So I told them that, and now they are now, I think they're now in their almost 10 years married, and they're doing incredibly well. And financially, they're doing well in their relationship. I talked to them recently. They were saying we still talk about some of the things we learned, about fighting fair, about how to resolve, about resolving quickly. These are things that they learned in premarital counseling. So back to that, it's so valuable. It's so valuable.
Yeah, that's amazing. Because I'm thinking too, when it comes to conflict resolution, if you already have pre-established a goal, you can lead with that, right? Like, okay, we know, right?
Yeah, if you look, man, it's like everything in our lives. With us, we know, number one, we're not going anywhere. We know our marriage. Look, no matter, so okay, fine. Establish that this marriage is going to last. We're not going anywhere. Okay, not even going to discuss it. We've never brought up the D word in our marriage. It just doesn't happen. Correct? Because we realize we're not. That's what commitment to us is. We're not going anywhere. Any problem we have after we determine our goal, after we said this is our goal, this is what we're having, this is what's happening. Any challenge that we have on the way to that goal, we'll take it, look at it through the lens of our bigger picture, our bigger goal, and say, hey, you know what? Whatever this is, it's a small roadblock. We're going to take this thing, put it on the shelf, look at it objectively, and say, okay, fine. How can we get rid of that? Because this is not going to stop us from that.
Yeah. It's just an obstacle to get to our goal.
That's it, man.
So you once said, this is one of your Instagram posts. I was doing a little cyber stalking, Pastor Kyle. So you said, don't expect what you are unable to give. And even if you are able to give what you expect, don't judge others by your standards. And that, to me, that really spoke to me, because I was thinking about when couples are at a different place with like their money stories, right? And sometimes you have like a spender and a saver that get together. And, when I was reading that quote, I was like, wow, like that's really cool, because a lot of the times we're just looking at things from our perspective and not the other person, So for example, there are people who have gone through the same exact experience or similar and come out with a different outlook in life, So I've known people that said, hey, when I was growing up, I didn't have anything. So now that I'm making money, I'm going to treat myself to the nice car, the nice house, and the cribs, right? And just forget about tomorrow. I'm just going to live for today. And then there are other people that look at the same situation and say, well, when I was growing up, we didn't have anything. So I don't want to be like my parents. So I'm just going to save a ton of money, right?
Right.
So how do you recommend couples communicate when they're just not on the same page financially, and somebody might be a spender? Maybe there have been some financial infidelities in the past. Like, how do you open up that safe space where people can come to that middle ground and resolve?
Yeah, I love what you said. There might have been some financial infidelities in the past. Wow, yeah, that's powerful. Because I believe that if you don't, when we talk about being compatible and we talk about being on the same page, I think quite often we feel as though that means that people have to be identical. And it's not true. If I'm a spender and you're a saver, two things we know there. We know that we're going to have to spend, and we know that one of us is good at that. And we know that we're going to have to save, and one of us is good at that. Okay. So we understand that, okay, I'm a spender, you're a saver. So then the spender has to learn from the saver, and the saver has to learn from the spender. I think that quite often when we look at those situations, we'll say, oh, this is how I am, that's how you are. The whole idea of marriage says that these are two independent people coming together to form one, and that's even the Judeo-Christian understanding of marriage, two becoming one, one flesh. So being on different pages or having different perspectives of a thing is not a bad thing. Actually, it's quite good. I think it's a positive thing, because you have an opportunity to learn from that other person. I have an opportunity to learn from you. My wife and I are completely different. We have similar senses of humor. There are a lot of areas in which we do click, but there are some vast differences. And I'm telling you, there are vast differences, even financial differences, right? But here's what's happened. I'm not a big spender. She is. I will hold on to $1 forever. And my wife is like, okay, fine, you're going to die with that $1 in your hand. Okay, and you will have never enjoyed it. But what I've had,
Pastor Kyle, you're the reason they came out with the new 20s. You holding on to all the old ones?
There you go, man. I got a whole drawer full of them old 20s. I'm not letting them go. No, but she has taught me. She has taught me how to relax and how to enjoy the spoils of my labor, how to enjoy some of the things that I work for. And I'm showing her how to tighten up a little bit. And that way you achieve that balance.
Some sort of balance, yeah.
Yeah. I think being on different pages actually is a very good thing.
So now you're cool with taking an impromptu trip to the Caribbean,
Oh my God, yeah, man. Yeah. I swear to you, Louis, I never would have done that without my wife. There's no way in the world. I would know where. If I hadn't planned for that, no, there's no way. Now she'll say, let's just go somewhere. Let's just okay. And I fight through those urges to say, that's not in the budget. That's not what I want to. But I know if it can be done without being hurt, well, what's the harm in it?
Right.
What's the harm? She's going to be happy. I'm going to enjoy myself. What the heck? Let's do it.
Yeah. I remember one of the couples from the show that that was the case, where one of them was like super, like everything was written down on a board. Every penny had a destination.
Oh God, I remember that. Yeah.
And the other one was a teacher, right? She was like, "Hey, when the summer comes, I'm gone, man."
Right.
I was like, "Oh, that's a wrong one."
You know what's funny about that, Louis, is that when we interview these people, and mind you, we take 3 to 4 months of vetting and interviewing. And when we see couples like that have these stark differences, it's because they've told us, I want somebody to bring me out of my shell. I want someone who can counterbalance me. I want somebody, and everybody wants that until they get it. Right. Everybody wants I'm introverted. I need somebody to bring me out of my shell. I'm too extroverted. I need somebody to calm me down. Then you get someone introverted and it's like, I don't know if I want that. Well, I'm like, be careful what you ask for, because we're going to give it to you, Yeah.
And then it gets real.
Then it gets real. Yeah.
So tell me about the workshops that you're doing, because I know you said there's a financial component. Like, what does it look like? And then, after, if you can tell us how people can find them and sign up and all that.
Yeah, we actually, we had a workshop. Our last workshop was planned for Puerto Rico, actually, right before the pandemic. And pandemic just destroyed everything. We're wrapping up again. We're seeking out some venues, but in the past we've done workshops. We've been in the Caribbean, we've been in the Bahamas, we've been throughout the domestic U.S. But the way it looks basically is we will have a number of couples. We try to keep it relatively small. Our workshops. We don't want it to be out of hand with hundreds and hundreds of people. So normally they're pretty exclusive with maybe about 50 to 100 couples, because I like to personally talk to people. I like to I want to know them, and I want to be able to go through the audience and know them and talk to them, and because and we deal with a number of different topics. In fact, CPR was a conference concept where the whole weekend we dealt with commitment, passion, and respect. And so we'll do that. Then we'll have breakouts, and the breakouts will be men only and then women only. And we normally end up with a vow renewal at the end of each conference. Yeah. So we do have, and we do have financial information also. The last conference we did right before the pandemic was we dealt with credit. And we had a credit professional to come and to show people how to some simple tools to get their credit right, some simple tools to make money from good credit. It was really, really, really powerful. Even one of the previous ones that were Dr. Pepper from the show, she joined in one of our past conferences, and she gave an incredible presentation about sex and sexuality in marriage. And, I still have people contacting me every now and then, still telling me about some of the things that she said, which was just awesome. So stuff that we couldn't talk about on the show. So they're very exciting, and we're looking forward to...
Not PG.
No, it wasn't PG. We were looking forward to our next conference. In fact, Wendy and I have been talking about that. we just about have a venue. You can go to my website calvinrobertson.com, and it'll show you all the information as soon as it's ready.
Great. Yeah, I'll be putting a copy of the website, the link to the website in the show notes as well, so you can go to it. Yeah, that sounds amazing. I mean, especially doing it in a tropical destination. I think people have been cooped up for too long because of the pandemic.
Yeah.
And that'll be super helpful.
Yeah. We really love that. And I think, I mean, we could easily do them here in Atlanta, but people want a beach, man. They want some heat. They want something beautiful.
Absolutely. I myself can't wait to see myself in a tropical location with a colorful drink with an umbrella in it. That's my goal.
Come on now. Yeah.
Within the next couple of months, for sure.
That's cool. So, it's funny because whenever Wendy and I go out to eat, every now and then we'll have a drink with Mill, and I always get the fruity drinks. Always.
Hey, not saying you have to.
I know, right? The waiter will come and give her my drink and give me hers because she's the one who got the guy drink. And I'm like, dude, that's mine.
Yeah, but I got the one with the umbrella. That's me.
I got the umbrella, and I'm proud of it, dog.
See, you are confident in your masculinity. I love that.
Absolutely, give me the umbrella. Yeah.
So, Pastor Cal, you have also an app that you're developing. It's the same name as the book and the workshop. Is that right?
There is. It's called Marriage Ain't for Punks. You can find out more about that at marriageaintforpunks.com. Right now, we're having people to go online and register for the app. Not to subscribe yet, but just to register for it. Because when it does hit the market, we want people to be ready for it. This is going to be a comprehensive app for all things marriage. We want a one-stop shop for marriage. We want people, if they're looking for if they want to know how to buy a home, if they want financial information, how IRA or Roth IRA, if they want, how do I the 504 plan, or for education or whatever it is. I want marriages and families to be able to come to this one stop and find out everything they need to know to better their marriage. In addition to online counselors, we have some counselors that are going to be incredible that are going to be on there. Just a marriage community where you can also, the app will have you tracking other people who are part of the community in your area. We believe firmly that a lot of marriages don't succeed because they don't have the marriage community, the village, so to speak, to help. This marriage thing is tough, man. And one thing that we found, we do this literally every weekend. We meet with other marriage couples, not just for them, but for us as well. Every weekend, we're meeting with other marriage couples. It's really through our church, but we're meeting with other marriage couples, encouraging one another, having fun. We have fun. We play games. We do stuff, and it's just a weekly thing that we do. But we had a young couple that met with us who was going through some trouble. They were going through some troubles, and the guy separated, and we talked to him, and the women separated and talked to her. Man, they came afterwards. They were like, my gosh, this is what we needed for our marriage.
Night and day.
Everybody thinks they're alone. Everybody thinks that they're the only ones experiencing these issues, but no, they're not. We all are. So this app is about creating that same type of marriage community, but I want to do it for everyone. And the only way I can do it is through the app. So it's at marriageaintforpunks.com. And I told you I could talk. Another part of that is not only for people who are married, another part is for people who want to be married.
Oh.
So Louis, we're also adding a component, and it's not a dating app. It's a pre-marriage app. It's for people whose mindset is marriage. So when you sign up for the app, there's going to be an 8-month subscription or a 12-month subscription or an 18-month subscription or a 24-month subscription. These subscriptions are the times. This is the time frame in which you expect to be married. So if you sign up for a 12-month subscription, you're expecting to find your spouse. Now, unlike swiping left and swiping right, no disrespect, we're not doing that. You're going to fill out a questionnaire. After you fill out that questionnaire, We're going to put it into an algorithm, which is going to give you the perfect match from our database. It's going to give you the person who fits your values, who fits your religious values, and it's a very values-based algorithm. And we're going to find that person for you, and you're only going to see that match.
Wow. Is it bound to a geographical area or the?
Yes, we want it bound geographically, but you will have the choice to determine whether or not you want some in your geographic area or whether you're willing to be long distance. That will be your choice. It's going to be very user-friendly. We're going to make sure that you have, because there's some people, they don't mind dating someone across country or whatever, or marrying someone across country. I'm willing to move. I'm willing to whatever. We don't want to bar you from that.
Find love, yeah.
Yeah, wherever you find love. So that's what that's the pre-marriage part of that app. And our motto is we're changing the game from being a meat market to a mate market.
I love that.
That's our goal.
Wow, that's super comprehensive. I saw a quote from Wendy that she said, "No man is an island," but you guys ain't kidding. You're building that whole infrastructure to support marriages from every angle.
Man, Lewis, you know what? I'm a firm believer. A friend told me once. He said, "Calvin, you're doing too much. Yeah, you're doing too much, man. You have too many ideas. You're doing too much."
When do you sleep?
I know, right? Here's my belief, and I firmly believe this. It may come from my spiritual values. I believe that if an idea drops into your brain, if God gives you an idea and it drops into your brain, it's not there just to occupy space. That idea is in your mind in order for it to be executed. And I've always said this, listen, if I'm not supposed to do it, why do I keep dreaming it?
Yeah.
If I'm not supposed to do it, why do I keep thinking it? If I'm not supposed to do it, why am I urged and pushed to accomplish it? This is something I'm supposed to do, or else I wouldn't be thinking of it. There's hundreds of people who never think of anything.
Yeah.
It's like, the Bible gives a talent to the guy with the 1 talent and the 2 talents and the 5 talents, whatever it was. I don't know if you know that story, but, regardless, it says, this guy got 1 gift, this one got 2, and they all went and had to multiply. And when the owner came back, he says, well, what did you do with the 1? He says, well, nothing. I hid it. The 5 guy went and multiplied his. The guy with 2 went and multiplied his. The guy with 1, he was terrified and said, I was scared. I hid it. Well, I believe that everybody doesn't have the same number of gifts. And if you have ideas and you're not doing it, you're wasting your usefulness. You're supposed to be doing whatever drops into your head. That's why it's there. So yeah. I'm gonna do it all.
Some action is better than no action, even if it's imperfect. You can always correct course.
You can always correct course. And everything that you start today is not designed to be finished tomorrow. Sometimes what you start today, it's like building an oak tree. It's like the guy who planted the tree 100 years ago. He was planting it for us.
Yeah.
Now it can sit under its shade. So some of the things that I'm starting, my kids may continue it. Someone may continue it, but somebody's got to start it.
Somebody got to start. Yeah, I love that. Wow. You ain't kidding. So you're just getting started, Pastor Kyle.
Man, I'm not done, dude. I'm not done. When do you ever stop? When do you ever finish? When do you ever stop? I don't understand what retirement is. What is that? I don't know what that is.
Took that out of your vocabulary.
Yeah, please.
Yeah. So tell us about your most recent book, Marriage Ain't for Punks. Why did you choose that title?
Wow. I chose the title Marriage Ain't for Punks because this book is actually and first I want to give props to my wife who she told me, no, you be on your name is the only one on this one. But she was a major contributor. I wanted both of our names to be on it. She wanted my name to be on it only for the first go round. This book is actually a compilation of the last probably 30 years of marriage counseling, coaching, pastoral counseling that I've done. And I wanted something that spoke to people to let them know that this thing called marriage is attainable, but it ain't easy. It's just not easy. And I wanted something that packed a punch, that let you know, look, if you're going to do this, you better have the testicular fortitude to do it. I mean, you gotta have the gonads to do this, because it can be the best thing in the world, or it can be the worst thing in the world. It can be the happiest times of your life, or it can be the most trying times of your life. But one thing's for sure, if you put in the work, it's going to yield some great results. And like as I say in the book, I believe that marriage doesn't work. I believe people work. Marriage is only the institution. It's only the thing that you enter into to create something with your partner. But the people are the ones who get in there and make it work. And it's not for a faint of heart. It's for people who really, really desire it. So this is a book that's hopefully giving, tools and practical instructions so that people can finally see, you know what, this thing is worth it. I got an email from someone recently. I don't know if I could find it, but I'll just paraphrase it.
Yeah,
I get about 20 to 25 emails a week, maybe more. My assistant says it gets more than that. I don't know. Those
are the ones that get to you.
But I get to I look at probably about 25 or so a week. And these emails, one couple said, I just put down your book 20 seconds ago. And I was looking for an apartment to move out of my marriage because it was over as far as I was concerned. My husband had read your book and he was telling me to read it. And I decided, okay, what the heck? I'm going to give it one last chance. Mind you, they've been married for 17 years.
Wow.
She read the book. She said, I just put it down 20 seconds ago and it saved my marriage. And I was humbled, so humbled, and just emotionally affected by the fact that somebody who was on the brink of giving up found hope, in the fact that it takes some work, but it's worth it. And if both parties are ready to put in the work, man, anything can be accomplished. Anything can be accomplished. So, long answer to your short question. That's why I wrote the book.
Gotcha. No, I mean, that's powerful. And, I think the title itself conveys what you're trying to get across, because when I look at it, like you mentioned, there's a few things that I just no-nos, right? Especially as a man, you're like, I ain't no punk, right? So,
right, exactly. I knew it would get to guys. Oh, okay, right. I ain't right.
Yeah,
right.
No, for sure.
Anything, ain't no punk.
Yeah. So you go with that, like, all right, well, then you gotta strap up. But I love some of the perspective that you provide, because you have these things that really, I feel like, are designed to make you think. A question like, what is the goal of your marriage? It's not something that in general people would think about. What do you mean? Like, we liked each other, we wanted to get married. Like, what do you mean the goal? Like, I love that, because then now you have something that you can use as that.
Absolutely.
Right? Like that filter.
Absolutely. And I think I used, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Yeah.
I think I use a lot of my my principles from finance and what have you, sort of repurpose them, for relationships also, as far as goal setting and marriage setting. Setting goals in marriage, even when it comes to, how to differentiate between the people in your life. Later on in the book, near the one of the final chapters, it talks about how, sometimes punks, I can't remember the title of the chapter, but it talks about sometimes you have to punk out. And I said, when punking out is necessary, I did write the book, but it says punking out is necessary. And I talk about the 4 types of relationships in your life, your primary relationships, your proximate relationships, your public relationships, and the peripheral relationships, and how even when you're leaving if your marriage can't work because there's abuse, because there's serial infidelity or any of that, you have to know how to position yourself to this new norm, to these people. And sometimes people who are your primary, who are the people who affect your life, they affect your life just immensely. Sometimes those people, you have to move them from that primary space to that proximate space. And sometimes from that space to the public space. And it goes on to talk about how do I order these people in my mind so I know how to deal with them. I mean, how do you deal with an ex when you have kids together? They're no longer your primary relationship, because you're not married to them. They're not, you care for them. You may still love them, but you're not tied to them like that. So how do I move that person from this primary to approximate, because we have kids connected? Or if we don't have children, how do I move from that primary to that public where, look, we're done? So there are things in there that I'm hoping people can get that and latch onto it and realize, look, even if our marriage doesn't work, this book can still provide some help for me to navigate those waters.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense too, because you're going to be tied to that person sometimes because of kids or maybe friends in common, all kinds of things. Exactly. You got to learn how to navigate that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping it's comprehensive enough. But and the reviews are coming back pretty darn good. So you know what, not bad.
Well deserved. Well, no, I love it. I want to ask you before I let you go. I think you had done some work with the YMCA. You got an award for a money mentorship.
Oh my gosh, man, you went way back. Yeah, dude. Yeah, man. I when I was in DC while I was working at Duke Ellington School of the Arts. I've always had a few jobs, and I'm not even Jamaican. I've had a few jobs. And one thing that I was doing, I started a program when I was at Duke Ellington, and the program was called Money. Money was an acronym for mentoring, organizing, and nurturing exceptional youth.
Wow.
And Money was a program where I was teaching kids about investments. I was teaching them about stocks, bonds, mutual funds, annuities, and some derivatives, whatever they could grasp. And I taught these inner city kids. They would come to the YMCA and we'd have these fun and interactive things, where I'd show them what stocks were and I remember I gave them all a name of a stock. I remember one kid, I called him Sony, and somebody else called him Walmart. Somebody else would call him McD, and so they all had nicknames. I just did that so they knew it. And I told them they had to track stocks. So the next week they would come back, they had to be tracking these stocks, and to let them know, just let me know where they are, how they're doing, et cetera, et cetera. I told them the difference between equity and debt, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. At the end of the program, we had some representatives, because of my connections in the financial industry. We had representatives from Goldman Sachs, from Solomon Brothers. At that time, it was Smith Barney.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had someone from Merrill Lynch came out, and also someone from a local bank. They came out to see these kids present, and then we had their parents in the audience thing. But I wanted these investment professionals to come out and ask these kids questions. And these guys, these people who've been doing this for a minute from Goldman Sachs, they came out there asking questions. So young man, tell me, what is the difference between a naked call and a covered call?
Oh man, you're getting ready for a Series 7 now.
Oh yeah, right. And they, boom, 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 boom. The kids knew it. Now, to be very fair, I gave them questions to ask because I don't want to embarrass my kids. So I said, choose from this list of questions, okay? Right. But my kids they were killing it, man. They were killing it, and it was just one of the proudest moments of that I can remember. And I remember that at the very end, at their national meeting, the YMCA had a national conference and banquet and what have you, and they presented me with the Innovation Award for that program. So that was, it's not a Grammy, it's not an Oscar or an Emmy, but it's probably one of the more cherished awards that I've gotten, because of the kids and what it did for them. And I don't know, I guess I lost contact, but I do believe and hope that some of those kids went on to do great things. I believe that.
I am sure. I think those are the kinds of things that stay with you and have lifelong impact.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I feel like in this country, we don't have those resources that are just readily available within the education system. I think a lot of colleges are now starting to, offer like financial planning as a major and stuff, but I feel like people should learn those basics at an earlier age.
Yeah. And that's something that I think I'm going to I've been thinking about organizing it and sort of.
There's a need for it.
Program. Yeah.
Absolutely. No, that's awesome. And so I appreciate you coming and taking the time.
This has been fun, man.
Thank you. Likewise. Tell us, for those that want to follow you, what would be the best place to go? Social media, your websites?
Sure. I am Calvin Roberson on Instagram, of course. I am Calvin Roberson I think it's on everything, Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook, or Marriage Ain't for Punks on Instagram. My wife, of course, is I am Wendy Roberson. And also you can go to my website, calvinroberson.com, or for the app, marriageaintforpunks.com. So it's Calvin or Marriage Ain't for Punks, one or the other.
And I'll have all of those links in the show notes. So last question before I let you go. This is something I ask guests sometimes. So say that you were in an elevator with a stranger. You're going to have a short ride with them. They're going to get off on the floor. You never see them again, right? They don't know who you are. They don't have resources to your links, your social media. What are some things or a thing that you would just want to bestow on somebody? Hey, listen, this is what I've learned from my life. Let me just give you these jewels here. So maybe you can learn something from it or better your life. Could be one or a couple of things that you would like to just share with them.
Oh man, that's a powerful question. One thing that I would probably say is, I would find out, where do you see yourself in 20 years? If money was no option, if geography was no option, if relationships were not a problem, where would you want to see yourself in 20 years? And then I would tell them, whatever ideas you have, whatever visions you have, thought of, whatever things that you've always dreamed of, you're dreaming of them because they are possible for you to accomplish. That every dream, every idea, every thought in your head is given to you because you are the one who's been chosen to accomplish those. Mm. So that's the one thing that I would want to leave with them, that you don't have to be. One of my favorite speakers is Tony Robbins. I say, I will never be a Tony Robbins. But then Tony Robbins will never be a Calvin Roberson. He just won't be. Because everyone has their own path. So I would want them to follow that path, man. Whatever it is, and don't allow that 20 years to transpire without you having started so that your lineage can finish it, or you completing it yourself, because it was given to you for you to do.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that. That is a jewel right there.
Louis, it's been a pleasure, man. It's been such a pleasure, man. This has been a lot of fun. I'm so glad you invited me to be here.
Thank you, Pastor Carl. Same here. I look forward to when the workshops are live again. And
yes, sir.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you an invitation, man. You got to come.
Oh, absolutely. All right. I'm telling you, you lure me in with that umbrella drink.
There you go.
Thank you so much, Pastor Carl. You have a great day. Everyone, if you have any questions, as always, send me an email, luis@onmywaytowealth.com. And thank you for tuning in. We'll see you in the next episode.
Much respect. Take care.
Thank you for listening to On My Way to Wealth. If you have any questions, please send me an email at luis@onmywaytowealth.com. The information provided here is for information and education purposes only. The opinions expressed herein are solely those of myself, unless otherwise specifically cited. Material presented is believed to be from reliable sources, and no representations are made by my firm or myself about other parties' information or accuracy or completeness. All information or ideas provided should be discussed in detail with a financial advisor, accountant, or legal counsel prior to implementation. Thank you.